This is Ian Scott Rogers of Victorious Vagabond, and this is going to be an update video of where I am, what I'm doing, and how the adventure is going so far. I've been putting off making this video because I figure that most people want to read about the articles and the places that I go and get information from the adventure, and as well as look at the cool pictures that I take and some of the videos that I take of the journey. So I've been hesitant to put out a journal or a video diary type video because I don't really want to attract the attention of the adventure to my own personal internal experiences, because I feel that might shut people out from gaining information or entertainment from what I produce. But I decided to make an update video anyway because I figure people would want to know what the adventure is like, what it's like to be going on this journey. So this will be more of a video log, video diary. So bear with me if you want to hear that sort of content. So it's Monday, June 18th, and I've been I've been staying in Safford for the last 5 days. I mentioned when I was back in Wilcox with my previous update video, when I got 100 followers on Facebook, that I was going to be putting out 4 new articles, and obviously those articles haven't been published yet. And for a long time, ever since I got to Wilcox, I've been procrastinating a lot. I keep saying, like, oh, I'm going to write these articles then, I'm going to write these articles then. But the truth is that as I've gotten further and further away from Phoenix and all my friends and family, I've become more aware that I'm reaching the edge. I'm reaching the edge of my world, essentially. I'm very close to the New Mexico border. I've lived in Arizona my whole life. So even though Safford's like a different city, it's still familiar territory. The environment's the same. I know all the plants and animals that are around me, and the weather is sure the same because it's going to be 120 today or tomorrow. So these are all things that are familiar to me. But when I hit Wilcox, and now that I've reached Safford, it's very clear that I'm standing on the edge. I'm about a 3.5 hour drive, 4 hours ish from Phoenix, from Gilbert, and pretty much any travel that I do beyond that limit is really going to be pushing the limits of what somebody can drive in a day, without taking a day off, within their normal lives, essentially. By the time I get into New Mexico, we're talking like 5-6 hours for a drive. I mean, for me, it's, a 20-day walk, which is crazy, but for the person using, an automobile, that's like a 5-6 hour drive. That's not a drive that you can really take all that often, right? So once I hit that mark, that's pretty much the edge of my world. It's as Samwise Gamgee said in Fellowship of the Ring, if I take one more step, it's the furthest from home I've ever been. And although not distance-wise, in time, it has been. This is the furthest I've ever been from my world, essentially. My friends, my family, all my acquaintances, former work friends, and all that stuff. In terms of time, because time is all we have, right? Distance means nothing. It's all about time. And I'm standing on the edge of that time, that radius of what my world can be considered. And I hate to admit it, but I've found myself hesitating before jumping off, taking the plunge into the void, essentially. And I don't know, in my hesitation, I've gotten a little depressed. I've just been hanging around my hotel, just just trying to waste time and essentially avoid the inevitable, to take that plunge. Because once I leave Safford, there really is no going back. And it's caused me to question a lot of the things that I thought I wanted. I've had a lot of doubts that have been creeping into my mind lately. Is this really what you want? Is being this far away from everything you've ever known, is this truly what you want? And I've had that question hang in my mind a lot lately. And also I realize, if you care to step into the realms of the philosophy, is that this is basically, however you want to look at it, either climbing up or taking the plunge down, whatever metaphor you prefer. This is where I am right now. This is who I want to become with Victorious Vagabond in my life. Really, once I take this step, there's no going back. Because the only way to go is forward. Because I know that if I take the step, I'm going to keep going. But I have to ask myself, am I going to take that step? Do I really want to take that step and abandon everything? It's more terrifying than I thought it would be. Not in a physical way, but in an existentially terrifying sort of way, where I always said I don't know what's going to happen on the adventure, but now it's really hitting home where, wow, man, once I go past Safford, once I step into the New Mexico border, although I do know some people, and I have friends and friends across the United States, it really is a foreign, strange land out there that I haven't lived in, I haven't experienced, and I won't know anybody. And I really don't know what's going to happen, and it's been weighing heavy on my mind, and it's way heavier than I thought it would be, which I guess some of you watching going, of course it is, but you don't really know. You don't know until you're standing on the edge of oblivion, and you're looking into the abyss, and you have to decide to take that plunge or not. People can talk about it all they want, but until you're there, you don't know. You can say one way or another, oh, it's not that hard, or it's really hard. You just don't know. And I admit I've been really depressed, because I've been hesitating, because I thought that taking that plunge would be far easier than it really is, and it's caused me to doubt myself and my adventure. And as a result, I haven't posted on Facebook or done any sort of update on my website. So I'm kind of making this video for myself, but also I hope that by saying what's going on in my head, that hopefully you can learn what it's like to really take that plunge. Because a lot of people talk about changing their life or doing what they always wanted to do, following their dreams. It's hard. It's way harder than you think it is, because it's not comfortable, it's not easy, because you're changing everything about you. Everything. You have to change your personality, your body, depending on what you're doing. Your personality, your state of mind, your perspective on the world. Everything that you've built up into this point, you either have to tear down or walk away from and start anew. And I think that's where most people fail, because it is so terrifying to go, oh, wow, I have to do everything different from now on for the rest of my life and sustain that indefinitely. It's scary, and I hope that by me expressing myself in this video, that you guys can understand what it's like to do this. And I hope that, because I feel a lot better having talked about it, and I know that I'm going to leave tomorrow morning or evening, depending on the weather report. So whatever I get done today, I have to say, that's all I can do. I got to keep going to Albuquerque. So I hope that by witnessing and experiencing what it takes to do this and the mental journey that you have to go on, that I can hopefully inspire you to decide to take that plunge. Because even though it is crazy, it does seem impossible, and it does seem far greater than anything you can possibly ever do, you can still do it because people do it. But when it comes to you, suddenly the entire game changes because you're not just witnessing it happen to other people, it's happening to you. And in that regard, this has been, I want to say, the most life-changing experience of all time, because I've done a lot of psychedelic mushrooms, and I thought that changed my life. It changed my perspective on how I perceive things, but it didn't change my life in the way that you think it does with mind-altering drugs or things that happen to you. Your life only really changes when you decide to make something happen, and regardless of what it is, regardless of how big or small. But the bigger it is, and the more you have to will yourself to make that change, the more your life's going to change. And I mean, this is the biggest thing that I've ever decided to make happen. You know, because things have happened to me. Things happen to everybody, right? But unless you're making a conscious decision to make something happen, you're not going to change. You're just reacting in the way that you've been taught or you believe in. Whereas this is making new beliefs, and this is teaching yourself new things. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts so far on the journey, and it's been far more difficult than I ever thought possible. But thank you for listening to these vagabond thoughts, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe my video if you enjoyed this talk, because if you guys enjoyed this discussion that I had, and I see a lot of positive feedback from it, then I'll consider doing more of these kind of videos where I talk about the philosophical and the mental experience of it, and just my personal journey to give you guys more information about what it's like to do this. So if you really enjoyed this video, let me know, and I'll consider making more videos just like these. But until then, stay tuned, and I'll see you on the road.